wheels, but it was enough to legitimize his skating. Every single day was skateboarding. His parents just let him go. Washington, D.C.
How the fuck does no one know that old prank? You guys have never fake shitted out a Snickers bar and taken a bite? Are you guys serious? What the fuck is going on? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Warning, the following video features stunts performed either by professional—
Is this toss? What BAM shit does he show? Is this gonna be a Twitch terms possibility? No toss, no toss, no, 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 no. Okay, good.
or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, Patrick CC and the YouTube community guidelines must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed in this video. Also, this video is in no way trying to glorify the life or lifestyle of the subject, but rather document it for educational and artistic purposes. Bam Margera is a skateboarding and pop culture icon who shaped the childhoods of millions of kids around the world. He could be the second most famous skater next to Tony Hawk. By the age of 21, he was already a multi-millionaire stuntman and professional skateboarder known all around the world. Before the internet. He basically invented the formula for viral stunt videos and pranks that are still used today, but none of this came without sacrifice. He put his family and friends through hell for money and fame. He developed multiple bad habits with you-know-what. He had complicated relationship issues with multiple individuals, and once he lost his lifelong best friend Ryan Dunn in a fiery car crash, his whole life spiraled out of control. Even in 2022, it's still looking bleak for Bam. He had a giant camcorder that sat on his shoulder and loved the idea of filming. And his parents never made him do anything. No chores, no responsibilities. It was all fun, all the time. Every weekend, his father would take them to skate spots and skate parks all around Pennsylvania. They would skate all day and watch what they recorded all night. By the time Bam was 10 years old, in 1989, he was known at a local skate park called Cheapskates as a very talented young prodigy. He met Bucky Lasek there, who was an 18-year-old pro skateboarder. He also met his longtime best friend Brendan Novak at this skate park. Bam wanted all his friends in the neighborhood to watch his skate videos, but not all of them thought they were interesting. So he thought it was a good idea to put bloopers and goofy things that he did on camera in the video. He realized the funny moments are what kept people interested in his skate videos, which would end up laying the foundation for basically his whole career. In 1992, at age 13, Bam got sponsored by a local shop called Fairman's. It wasn't anything crazy, they were just getting 2 free boards a month and some wheels, but it was enough to legitimize his skating. Every single day was skateboarding. His parents just let him go. Washington, D.C.
How the fuck does no one know that old prank? You guys have never fake shitted out a Snickers bar and taken a bite? Are you guys serious? What the fuck is going on? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. How many of you actually thought he just ate shit? Man, it's fucking crazy. No one here ever saw Caddyshack? That was like the most generic joke ever back in the day. Get a Snickers bar and pretend to shit and then eat it in front of a teacher or something. That was like the gold standard. That was like as generic as it got.
On the first day of 10th grade, he realized school was no longer.
He would have been a really successful YouTuber.
He dropped out and never looked back. Bam's friend Mike Maldonado was sponsored by a company called Toy Machine, which was a California-based company. Once Bam dropped out, he went right to LA to skate with professional skaters in the mid-90s. He wanted to be immersed in the culture and of course make a name for himself. So any idea he had, he attacked it head on. Any trick he wanted to land, he didn't stop until he landed it. His drive and passion was infectious, which is what kept people around him. But he was also funny as hell, doing anything to make his friends laugh. Since they kept a video camera on everything they did, the skits ended up being more interesting than his skating. And Bam realized this, so he leaned in. His videos ended up being about 50% stunts and 50% skateboarding. But there was a major cultural shift happening in LA,
the most impressive
something called
thing.
Big Brother magazine. Skateboarding had a big popularity boom in the 80s, but it didn't culminate to this big mainstream success right away. In the 90s, people weren't sure where it was going. Tony Hawk was basically the only skater making money from competitions and selling merchandise. But being a professional skateboarder was not a lucrative career. It really just became a lifestyle. Back before the internet, people weren't documenting crazy stuff for views. They didn't make money off these things. They were actually just living crazy, rebellious lives because that's who they were. In 1996, Jeff Tremaine worked on putting out a Big Brother branded video called Shh, which followed the same format as a typical skate video but featured a bit more antics than normal, partying, naked people, and living a reckless lifestyle. The most famous skit was Wee Man painted all blue messing with people on the streets in LA. This video was such a huge success in local skate shops, and they immediately worked on the second one, which was called Number 2. This video was much more organized, way better skating, still depicted the crazy lifestyle but had better skits. Johnny Knoxville made his debut in this video where he performed multiple crazy stunts. The magazine and now both videos ignited a fire in Bam. He was already already doing stuff like this, and now he knew there was a market for it. He knew he can compete and make something of the same caliber. Thus, CKY was born. By the way, double check and make sure you're subscribed. Might as well slap the like button and take a sip of water. So his vision for what he wanted to create was easy. He just needed more bodies. Kids in the neighborhood wanted to be in his videos, but they couldn't skate, so they became his stuntmen, trying to impress each other to see who could do the crazier stunt, constantly pushing the limits of what their minds could imagine and torment their bodies could handle. One of the most notable being Ryan Dunn, who would become arguably the whole reason Bam's life fell apart. They spent every day together coming up with crazy ideas that would get laughs out of people. When Bam turned 18 in 1997, he became teammates with Mike Maldonado, getting his first professional sponsorship with Toy Machine. Shortly after came a Thrasher cover, an official part in their video, and he was certified in the skate world. In March of 1999, 20-year-old Bam Margera would do the biggest thing he had ever done. Land Speed presents CKY.
God,
Finally,
CKY
all those
was
videos
so good.
of Bam and his friends shit up and skateboarding made it into a production.
The song
but the way
still
Bam edited the film
too.
was
Hell
actually
View's
so
their best.
forward-thinking because they cut out all the fluff. It was just crazy moment
I know
after
it's a
crazy
hot take,
moment.
but
It was
Hell View's
basically
their
like a
best
fails
song.
compilation or a people doing stupid things compilation way before YouTube ever existed. CKY was the name of his brother's band. The video served multiple purposes. It was to promote the music, and it featured a ton of music from his brother's band. It was to show these crazy stunts from his friends, and of course gnarly skate clips to show off Bam skating. Land Speed was the name of a skateboard wheels company, which was owned and distributed by Tum Yeto. Tum Yeto also owned Toy Machine, so Tum Yeto did the distribution for this movie in as many skate shops around the country.
There's nothing like that among teens and kids. Are you talking about like this kind of extreme culture of doing like crazy shit? Like a CKY, all that? Because I think you'd be wrong. I think there's still a ton of it. It's just not in the same way. Like, TikTok, I know, still has a lot of people that do that shit. And I'd say there's more of it now than ever since you make money doing it. And it's also a lot more degenerate now. Whereas back when CKY and all that, number 2, all of that, it was more like the stuntmen doing pranks and stunts and shits to each other. But now it's more about doing it to other people. Like, other people are your props and the ones that you, like, torment. So it has changed a little bit, but it definitely still exists. And it's not like a absolute. There's still people that do kind of what CKY and all that did, like the same spirit. But it's definitely still around, because now you make money on it.
Hit. Bam was getting recognized at every skate park he went to and started to become a bit
Not
of a
in
celebrity.
long form. Well, that's because long form's just kind of fading out. Everything's going the way of like shorter content. So like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, short YouTube videos. Like if long form content was the most profitable, there'd probably be more shits and number 2s out there. But there's not, because it's shorter content that gets the money and the views. Podcasts are just... What the fuck does a podcast have to do with like a stunt show or anything? I mean, movies are long and make more money than a podcast. Like, you can make that argument. I'm talking about like this kind of content in general. Like video content. Dude, Loki looks like soda poppin'? Not really. Does anyone remember Children of Poseidon? They used to be kind of just like this on YouTube, but I think they were just a little too early. Children of Poseidon got big because they were doing like cactus stunts. So I'm sure you've seen some of their stunts. Yeah, this is one of the guys. Oh, Jaffabel and Friends. They rebranded, I guess. Well, damn. All that shit just got like censored. Like, I mean, I probably couldn't pull up on stream anyway. They're the guys that used to do a lot of like cactus-based stunts. So you've probably seen that viral video they did where one guy just like jumps into a cactus and like rolls around in it. Another guy grabs a cactus as hard as he can for as long as he can. I think the energy's still there. It's just not in the exact same form. It's just shorter form now. So instead of like, I don't remember how long the CKY videos were, but I think they were like 30, 45 minutes or maybe an hour. Instead of it being like that, now it's just like 15, 20 seconds.
Realized that he never actually looked into the financial aspects of the film because Bam wasn't making that much money from it, but he was being recognized all over the country. Turns out, Todd Swank, owner of Tum Yeto, was ripping off Bam badly. To what degree, we don't know. But we do know that Bam left Toy Machine because of this, got a new distribution company to release the film, which was called VAS. They dropped the Land Speed Presents and actually edited out some clips that included Tum Yeto references. Then when they redistributed the film, Bam got a check from VAS for $1 million. Turns out they sold around 400,000 copies,
Holy
and
shit,
Tum Yeto wasn't
good.
sharing any of the money with Bam. CKY1
That's
and
not
CKY2, which was released in 2000, 1 year later, became cult classics in every high school in America. There was nothing like this that existed anywhere. Sure, the Big Brother movies were pretty rad, but CKY had way more chaos, way better pranks, and way better entertainment. I think they were more popular because it gave off this vibe of like me and my friends just f***ing around town, doing crazy stuff, which is something that I'm sure a lot of kids in the 90s could relate to.
It's a lot
Whereas
of
the
things
Big Brother
people
films
still
felt
like.
this is this crazy LA lifestyle that I'm
Just
so
seeing some crazy
separated
shit
from that I have no idea and I'll probably never experience. After the monumental success of CKY, Jeff Tremaine, the writer and producer of the Big Brother films, reached out to Bam. He had been covering Johnny Knoxville, Chris Pontius, Wee Man, and Steve-O for a little while now, and he knew they would be the perfect match for the CKY guys. Jeff invited Bam out to LA and introduced him to Knoxville. They brainstormed
Probably
the early
pitched to get
foundation for
monetized.
Jackass, in which
Yeah,
Tremaine
maybe.
was going to pitch to his childhood friend Spike Jonze, who was a well-established Hollywood director that began his career in the skateboard world. They spent a few weeks putting together a pilot that would be pitched to the networks, which never got released publicly, so we don't know what stunts they did. We can imagine it was pretty rad. And it turns out MTV ended up picking up the show. They spent the summer picking out what CKY footage to use, and on October 1st, 2000, the first episode aired on MTV, and it was a smash hit. Nothing like this had ever been on TV before. Bam, Johnny Knoxville, Ryan Dunn, Wee Man, Chris Pontius would do anything. Any stunt, anything that would cause serious pain. Nothing was off limits. Within 2 weeks, the ratings were higher than any MTV show in history. That same feeling kids around the country got from the CKY videos was now amplified by millions all over the world. Bam's whole life changed.
Was the Butterbean
In the
one in
blink of an eye,
Jackass
he
1
was
or
suddenly
2?
the king of
Actually, it might
Westchester.
be in the
Everyone
3.
wanted to be friends with him once they saw he was on TV.
Which one
It
was
was reported
Butterbean?
by Steve-O that the early days of Jackass, stuntmen would
It
get
was
between
one?
$200 to $500 per stunt.
He could get
So
some
MTV
Smurf.
was raking in millions, and the guys weren't.
And
But
the
Bam
resub.
was. He was still making a killer amount of
Yeah.
money from the CKY videos. By 2002, they released 4 CKY movies and different box sets, which would go on to sell over 1 million copies. So if the DVDs were
Fucking
$10,
crazy.
which was cheap at the time, that's about $10 million. Bam was driving around in brand new cars while Steve-O was doing stunts for $300. Paramount Pictures decided to make a budget for the Jackass movie in light of all the TV success. In October 2002, Jackass the movie hit theaters. Though controversial, the film had a budget of about $5 million and grossed $79 million worldwide in its first week. It
Yeah,
was
it's
safe
pretty
to say
solid.
this was a massive hit. We don't know what types of deals were negotiated. I believe Johnny Knoxville made the most since he was producer, but I think it's safe to say the money was rolling in for Bam. MTV, of course, needed a spin-off for Jackass
Easy
after it
resub
was
all
done
day.
airing on TV, so they offered one show to Bam called Viva La Bam and one show to Steve-O and Chris Pontius called Wild Boys. Viva La Bam was basically a show about Bam and his friends doing stunts, skating, and traveling the world. There was also an ongoing theme in the show where Bam would absolutely terrorize his parents as well as destroy their house.
That
Luckily,
looks
in
awful.
season 2,
I don't remember
he purchased
that. What the
Castle
fuck?
Bam in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which would basically become a
Hey, Dad, I'm gonna beat the shit
14-acre
out of you for
adult
this stunt.
amusement park. Bam was
Okay,
given a
buckle
budget of
down.
$300,000 per episode, in which he would keep about $40,000. I believe the show ran for about 60 episodes, so yeah. Millions of dollars. He did a full Civil War reenactment. Absolutely anything he wanted to do, MTV was willing to pay for it. A lot of the times they even told him
That's
his
exactly
ideas
what they
weren't
did for
crazy
Rob
enough.
Dyrdek.
MTV didn't realize how long it would take for skaters to land their tricks, so it wasn't really worth their time to sit there for hours while
Like
someone is
Brian
trying a
Bill.
skate trick only for them to land it and it takes 5 seconds of the show. So they kind of forced him to stop skating. At this point, he stopped fulfilling his duties as a sponsored skater, and his whole life became, how can I cause absolute chaos from the moment I wake up until
I
everyone
remember
goes to
like
sleep for
that
the
kind
next
of shit.
3
I don't
years.
remember
Up
him just
until
like
this
beating
point,
him.
Bam actually stayed clear of drugs and alcohol. He maintained a
I remember
sober
the
life
plunger.
and was motivated by just having fun with his friends and, of course, making money.
What did you guys play?
Shuffleboard, like, but this little cool style, like table shuffleboard.
Yeah, like with the sand on it.
Yeah,
Nice.
cool.
Was it like really Texas themed? Did you use spittoons instead of like the chips?
We did actually. It was
Yeah.
pretty crazy. We had to spit as far as we
It was
could.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was so good at it.
That sounds cool.
He just tolerated a better trajectory.
Yeah. Charlie's like, get the fuck
Yeah.
out.
Good night.
I'm fine.
Charlie's
You are
good.
always welcome in my abode.
Oh,
I appreciate
that
it.
is cute.
It was so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Charlie, breakfast is at 9,
Okay.
so she's gonna come pick us up a little bit before
Yeah,
9.
so stream until 9.
And we're gonna go ATVing.
With
so wear
somebody-
some that wear like shoes that.
Somebody
Okay.
said to ask Matt about Diet Coke.
Oh, do you like Diet Coke?
I do.
I love
That's fucked up,
I
man.
didn't like Diet Coke.
That was the
I think the
whole
aftertaste is nasty.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
He was in every Tony Hawk Pro Skater game, including
Well, that one
one
looks
where
a
he
lot
was
better.
on the cover. He was in commercials, selling more
You watch Viva
skateboards
La
than
Bam,
Tony
right?
Hawk through
Oh,
Element.
back in the
At one
day.
point, Bam was selling
Bam was the guy
40,000
to beat.
skateboards
Yep.
per month, and Tony Hawk was selling about 13,000. Because Bam would make merch and make his skateboards be pink, which wasn't really done before, so all his female fans would just buy the board and hang it up on their wall. Badass skateboarder, so if he showed up at a park rusty and sucking, he would look terrible in front of everyone. And he let that get to his head, which resulted in him just abandoning the sport. Luckily, Jackass got picked up for another movie and filming began for that. Jackass Part 2 came out in 2006 and of course was a huge success. $86 million in the box office worldwide first week. Bam wanted the party back in his life, so he pitched another show called Bam's Unholy Union, which was a show about planning his wedding with his now ex-wife, Missy Rothstein.
Trash, right?
The show was basically Viva La Bam. Pranks, skits, shit up, but with another side where his wife and mother April were planning a wedding. His relationship with MTV would end during season 1 because they wanted him to get his wife pregnant so they could have a plot for season 2. Bam freaked out on them for wanting him to bring a literal human in the world just for financial gain. So in mid-2007, Bam was 28 and had no more daily chaos in his life. Well, technically. He basically kept living the Viva La Bam lifestyle, except he wasn't getting paid for it. Random people would show up to Castle Bam to hang out, get drunk, and party. And if Bam was out of town, traveling for business, or in Europe, people would just throw parties at his house. He was very liberal with the gate code, so everyone knew it. Plus, the county and the town and all the cops in Westchester knew about his craziness after them filming the show for 5-6 years at this point. So it wasn't weird to have 100 people partying at his place. He filmed an indie movie called Where the F is Santa, which was basically an extended Bam's Unholy Union episode with pranks and all the same nonsense that he had been doing for over a decade. Not sure what the success was for this film, but it was clear that Bam could not move on from the life that he had. He wanted to just keep doing another movie or another show that consisted of the same chaos and rebelliousness that ensued since he was 20. He managed to land another TV show on Spike TV called Bam's World Domination, a show with him and Ryan Dunn, which aired on Spike for one episode, one evening at 11:30 p.m. on a Wednesday, which happened.
Were you about to say you watched it?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, because you were about to look real stupid when only one episode ever aired at one time slot.
No, literally, I was just saying, I've never seen that.
Oh, okay.
You tried to fucking get me, though.
I thought for sure you were about to...
You're about to dunk
because
on my
I said
ass,
I didn't see it, and you were like, wow. So I was expecting you to be like, that was one of his best works.
Jesus fucking
for the
Christ.
Jackass film. It was a hilarious episode and had a ton of potential, but nobody really knows why it didn't continue. Luckily for Bam, Jackass was back for another film, Jackass 3D. So he was filming that for all of 2009, which would release in October 2010 and would be the most successful Jackass yet. $171 million global box office first week, double from both the previous films. Living off the high of Jackass again, Bam still spent most of his days partying, traveling with CKY, and living the rock star life. But in the summer of 2011, Bam's world would get flipped upside down.
Jackass star Ryan Dunn has been killed.
Dunn's Porsche might have been traveling as fast as 130 miles per hour.
Fellow Jackass star Bam Margera was actually in Arizona when he got the call. He said shook his world, informing him that his best friend he considers his brother was killed in a fiery crash.
Bam's best friend, since he was 10 years old, passes away. Ryan Dunn was his creative partner. He was there for everything. Whenever Bam had an idea, he discussed it with Ryan. If he wanted to film a stunt, Ryan was the first guy ready to do it. He had spent the past 15 years attached at the hip with this man. He basically was the only true friend who stuck with him through all the ups and downs. Now, he was gone. This would be the beginning of the downward spiral that Bam still has not figured out to this day. Bam did a lot of press immediately after Ryan died. I guess he felt the need to talk about it, like he needed to get something off of his chest. He was doing radio interviews and podcasts like a week after Ryan passed. He also made some public appearances in 2011 where he seemed to be okay, but these days were dark for him. He would lock himself in his basement just watching old footage of him and Dunn, getting drunk, and not talking to anyone for weeks at a time, once again. But he did get married to his current wife, Nicole Boyd, which I suppose was good that he had some type of stability. And after 2 years of getting drunk, doing rock...
I was going to ask a question. Is that still his current wife? He said current wife, but like even to this day? This is February.
I wonder because she's not helping them stay on the rails.
I was going to say, every clip I've seen with the two of them seems fucking awful. Like they seem at each other's throats. God, because there's that video that went around where Ryan was like, Jesus, excuse me, where Bam was at the adult store with his wife, and his wife was like asking for like a dildo or something, and Bam was like, I'll get you a dildo to fuck yourself with it. You want to fuck yourself with this dildo, or whatever. It was so uncomfortable, and they both looked so unbelievably miserable. I thought it was like a girlfriend or something. I didn't realize that was his wife. He was on Dr. Phil to talk about that.
Yep. That was a fucking episode. I remember that.
Like a recent one?
rock shows and avoiding his reality, he actually managed to land another TV show. In 2014,
Oh, they did settle?
Bam's Badass Game Show. One season, 6 episodes, all aired within 1 month on TBS. The average viewership was less than 1 million. People were pretty harsh on this show. It wasn't actually that bad, but it promised to feature contestants doing stunts similar to Jackass, but ordinary people doing them, which was kind of interesting. But the stunts were just not as crazy, like even less crazy than Fear Factor. Plus, the casting was full of corny people,
Wow.
and Bam himself wasn't doing any of the stunts,
awful.
which is probably what
I
people
hate that
wanted.
shit.
The show ran for a month
That's
and then
so
got
like
canceled.
MTV.
I'm sure this
That
didn't
is-
help Bam's
I know.
confidence in wanting to do work anymore,
And, like,
so it was
spinning
back to the
around and spinning
basement with
back.
Dunn's memories. In 2015, the Ride channel posted a trailer for his movie about Dunn, which was called I Needed Some Time to Be Useless. There was a lot of hype on it. I think putting out this movie might have been a good way to close the door on the past and move forward with his life. But what actually happened was it kept the salt on Bam's wounds while making it. He couldn't ever perfect the movie nor finish it. In a 2017 interview, he talked about how he still couldn't finish the movie because the end of the movie needs to be Bam moving on with his life and not to repeat old patterns. But that is not his reality still to this day, which is why this movie still can't come out. Also, in case you were wondering,
David.
Castle Bam was still a never-ending episode of Viva La Bam. He kept drunks and addicts sleeping all over his house and partying every night just to relive the old days. The only problem was none of these
so
people were his
sad.
actual friends. They were going nowhere in life, and Bam had enough money to buy them whatever they wanted. The movie never came out, and Bam had made the best decision of his life sometime in 2016. He was finally fed up with the way he was living and the way he looked. He moved to Estonia with his wife, left everyone he knew back at the castle, and spent 6 months there losing weight and getting healthy. He then moved to Barcelona where he was going to learn how to skate again. At this point, Bam had barely even skated for the past 10 years. He had to relearn everything, and he couldn't be drunk while he was doing this either. He remained sober for about a year while relearning his first passion. Keep in mind, at this point he's 38, so he wasn't going to be as good as his 20-year-old self. There were some tricks he was just not going to be able to ever do again. In 2017, he moved back to the States and did a lot of press. He seemed to be in great spirits, he seemed to be sober, he was skateboarding again, and it was looking like Bam closed the book on the past. His mother, April, had the idea of putting Castle Bam on Airbnb while he was in Europe, so she spent the
That's a
whole
smart
year
idea.
getting it ready to put it on the rental market. It was a huge hit immediately, and she got it booked for about a whole year straight. Bam didn't love the idea, but once it became successful, he was okay with it. At the end of 2017, Phoenix Margera was born, which was his
Damn,
first
what
child.
happened? How did
So
it
now
go
he
so
was back
wrong
in
then?
Westchester with a new home, a new child, and a fresh
Jesus.
outlook on life. Unfortunately, this wouldn't last long. The worst thing for him was being back in Westchester. The same old town, the same old friends. With Castle Bam being right around the corner, it was like a lingering demon just tempting Bam to go back to his old ways. In late
fucking
2018,
tough.
he did, throwing parties, trying to recreate a moment once again. 2019 was a dark year, one where he
Thanks,
didn't
Reset
seem to
Nova.
recover from. He started off the year going to a rehab, in which he left after just 10 days. And I didn't really mention this, but honestly, for the
Richard?
past 10 years, he had been in and out of rehabs. He started a comedy and storytelling tour, in which I assume he probably just needed some money or something to do. He was basically just in a drunken, rambling stupor on stage. It's kind of difficult to watch.
God,
On this
that's
tour,
sad.
he famously went crazy on his manager.
There's pretty much nothing worse than doing stand-up comedy and it just not working. I think that is one of the bravest and most nerve-wracking things a human being can do. Slam poetry used to slap, though. Those open mics, they went hard. I remember I watched a slam poem about a guy complaining about, I think it was, what was it? Syrup or some shit? I don't know. Slam poetry used to go nutty, though.
And his wife, because they showed up to one of the comedy shows 2 hours early and nobody was there. Obviously, this freak out was unjustified, and his outrage most likely came from the drugs and alcohol. His longtime friend and heroin addict, Brendan Novak, told the story of Bam taking care of him for years, making him get sober, and everything he did to stop him from doing. But now the roles are reversed. Brendan is sober and getting his life together, and Bam is the one who can't stop. I also haven't mentioned this at all, but Bam has an unhealthy relationship with Instagram.
Yep.
He basically
he
posts
needs-
all
he has
facets
to
of his
delete
life on there
Instagram.
since 2012. You can tell when Bam is going through a rough time just based on what he posts on there. The comment section is constantly filled with people begging him to get help or begging him to stay sober. I could make a 3-hour video on just his Instagram. Summer of 2019, he claimed he was fed up with living the way he was, and the only person that could help him was Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil.
Did get on Dr. Phil, but it was pretty pathetic. It was evident that he was a spoiled kid who got everything he wanted in life. Yeah, he did work hard, but his parents never told him no. Nobody ever told him no. He never grew up, and truthfully, he didn't want to. His parents have been managing his life literally since he was born. He attended another rehab in 2019, and this is where Jeff Tremaine approached him about Jackass Forever. Jeff made him sign a wellness agreement basically stating that he would remain off drugs and
He's in a
alcohol during the
conservatorship?
filming of the new movie. Bam agreed and
that's
signed
the
the
best.
papers. Although he wasn't cured after rehab and Dr. Phil, it seems like the Jackass team was committed committed to keeping him sober, and
Thanks,
Bam
Reese
probably
Dahlia.
wanted the $5 million salary from the movie, so he held it together to get around them. But in the beginning of 2021,
Did you
he
see
was
the new
fired from the
Jackass?
film. Bam allegedly was on a road trip and took an Adderall, which was a drug that he
thought
was
it was fine.
prescribed, yet also addicted to for many years.
I've been on Adderall for 13 years, 2 a day at 20 milligrams, and they don't want me to take it anymore, and I found myself sleeping all day. Well, I found a loose one in my car on my road trip, and I took it.
He had to go to an urgent care that day to fulfill Jackass requirements
find a
and take a
loose
drug
Adderall in your
test,
car.
but he knew he
Like,
would fail.
like,
He
come
skipped
on,
the
dude.
test and checked
Nah,
himself
that's
into
just
a
a
Florida
nice
rehab
gift from the
instead, but
Adderall
this wasn't
fairy.
good enough. He broke the wellness agreement, so he
That's a
was
good
fired.
theory.
Bam's response was in a now deleted rant on Instagram.
I remember this one.
Cares if I'm drunk as hell or not anymore.
One of his main arguments was that Jackass was always filmed while the guys were drunk and on drugs, so why is now any different? He doesn't seem to understand that now they are all much older, in their 40s, and it's time to grow up. Jackass coming back means the new gimmick is that a bunch of old
surprised me
guys
how
are doing
old guy
stunts,
counts.
not crazy
I know.
20-year-olds.
Well,
They're
I think
making
the
the
one
film
that,
for the money
like-
and nostalgia.
I think Chris Pontius looked like he didn't fucking age at
Bro,
all.
the guy's nuts.
Yeah, that guy actually looked the same goddamn age. Johnny Knoxville, though, he was looking like Father Time.
It's really unclear how his year was going after this. When times are rough, he deletes all the comments from his Instagram and posts throwback pictures. That's usually a sign that he has his phone taken away. He did file a lawsuit against Paramount, Jeff
There
Tremaine,
it
Johnny
is, that's the
Knoxville, and
lawsuit.
many others associated with the film, claiming that he was forced to sign this wellness agreement that led to psychological torture, and that they fired him to steal his creative input and save money on the film. Jackass was once 50% CKY members and 50% Big Brother LA members. Now almost nobody from CKY are on the film. After the lawsuit and the antics in the beginning of 2021, he did a little bit of skating with Thrasher and even collaborated with Danny Duncan. But for the past 6 months or
Oh,
so,
nice.
his Instagram has just been a bunch of throwback photos with the comments turned off. His wife recently filed for full custody of his child, but not a divorce, which I don't really know why or what that even means for their relationship.
The internet just went out again. I hate when that happens. It's so frustrating for no reason. It lasted literally 2 seconds.
Now he is too old and out of shape to do what he once could, which prevents him from staying focused. He has tons of real friends out there, Steve-O, Brendan Novak, Rab, that will actually help him get better and be a positive influence. But you have to want to get better. He needs to accept that the Viva La Bam days are over. It's time to grow up, kick everybody out of Castle Bam, and be
Viva
a father
La
to your
Bam
son.
never
He could still get
dies.
into producing movies or directing, maybe
Like
working
the
with
recent
aspiring
Bobby
skaters or
Hill and the
stuntmen. It
Bits
could be a
Bricks.
healthy thing to focus on, as long as drugs and alcohol aren't involved. He has plenty of money. His father did right by him managing his finances, but one day, his father won't be there. Bam will need to figure out how to manage and budget his life. I genuinely hope Bam figures out his sobriety. He was a staple of many of our childhoods, and he changed skateboarding forever. He molded the recipe for viral stunts and videos that have dominated the internet for the past 20 years. He literally created culture. I do believe he still has a lot to offer to this world, but right now he needs to focus on closing the door on the past and putting his health and his family
True.
first. I wish the best of luck for you, Bam. Things are going to get better.
I think Bam will eventually get better. I think all he needs to do is get addicted to something less bad, like League of Legends or Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
True.
Mm-hmm. Replace an addiction with a less severe addiction. New Earth 2 drama. I can't believe it. The nutting on the truck. No, man, we already watched that documentary. It was right before I brought up that guy who ejaculates on cars. Backrooms. It was right after Backrooms. Or maybe I didn't say it. Maybe I just saw it in the chat and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that came out. Everyone type exactly what you typed 3 minutes ago. We're gonna like rewind time the old-fashioned way. Ancient Alien. My dad watches that shit all the time. I love that show. It's so good. It was not the goddamn car fucking guy. Stop saying that. It was right before that. Oh, this is gonna make me so upset. Oh my god, this is gonna make me so upset. Check the VOD. Oh, true. Yeah, hold on. I'll watch my own VOD real quick and look at the chat replay. Genius. Genius! Hold on, give me 1 second. It's gonna be worth the wait. I'm sure it was amazing. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, here's the guy who said, do men in love with cars? Okay, so I might have just missed it. We're close. We're close. This is gonna make me upset all night. God damn. Well, anyway. We'll just do something else, I guess. We can watch the new tub video. I really should have just typed it into the search bar. This happens all the time. Earth 2 CEO calls out the YouTube shadow cabal. Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's take a peek.
Shane Isaacs, the leader.
thought I just had a brain blast there for a second. Hold on. It's gone.
Of the Earth 2 Metaverse project personally called out Callum Upton, a popular metaverse and cryptocurrency YouTube critic. Shane was fed up with Callum constantly belittling the project and challenged him to do it better
Through some
in
vast
only 7 days.
and the 10 gifts of
Callum
Sego. Thank you,
accepted.
Sego.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
Josh Strove-Hayes. Earth 2, a planet-sized scam MMO.
True.
Where I followed
Good
the
video.
Earth 2 project, a supposed metaverse, the building of a virtual reality mapped to a one-to-one recreation of Earth. They were selling tiles on a grid. In the future, they said, you would be able to build on these tiles. What actually is the game? Even the Earth 2 Discord doesn't seem to know. Everything has been promised, from a planet-sized sim city to a first-person shooter to a Rust-style survival game. People have told me everything from it will map the molecule of every bit of water on the planet to you'll be able to generate electricity to you'll be able to build a house brick by brick. People tell me this is going to be the most
God, I love Earth 2.
video game ever created. Before we dive into this virtual insanity, a big thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel going. More info on this at the end. For now,
No, this game's amazing.
since the Earth 2 project
Well,
gained
not the game
notoriety
so
for
much,
its
but the
grandiose
story around
claims
it.
many months
It's
ago,
a giant
other
scam.
YouTubers have started to take an interest and have made very informative videos about it. You've got Kira TV, Big Fry TV, Sid Alpha, Upper Echelon Gaming, myself, and Callum Upton, all questioning the claims, methods, and general progress that the Earth 2 project has actually made over the last year. Now, it's vital to understand none of these YouTubers, including myself, win anything if Earth 2 fails. In fact, we'd all be pretty damn thrilled if it worked the way they claimed it's going to work.
Good
A
point.
virtual world of unlimited possibility sounds amazing. Indeed, it sounds like the stuff of science fiction. It's again vital to understand none of the YouTubers critical of this project hate the people supporting it. It's not us against them. It's
True.
not
I
you
feel bad
against
for 'em.
me. It's us as player advocates wanting the players to get what they've been promised. I'm not a hater of the idea of the project, I'm a harsh critic of its current reality. So far, you've literally promised the world and given us a map with a grid on it.
That's true. And the subreddit fucking loves it. Let's see what they're saying, actually. This is like a place for concentrated delusion. Protocols of the learned elders of YouTube have leaked. The cabal is real and they are targeting Earth 2. Bro, these players are fucking awesome. It is just never-ending entertainment when you check out Earth 2's community. Oh my god. That's so fucking good. What about the site itself? Last time we checked, someone had spent like $300,000 owning like a road or something, right? I wonder how much more money it's generated. Let's take a peek. Buy and trade virtual land. Oh, wow. Did it always look like a nutsack? Or is that new? I don't remember that. It did? I don't remember that at all. Alright. Check out the leaderboard. They gamify spending money. It looks about the same as where we last saw it, I think. Roughly. At least the names, I think, are. Let's see who owns the most tiles. This guy owns 1 million tiles. Here, let's check out the buy land option. Alright, what do we want? Where are we? This is all owned by... Who owns this? By Florida? No. You don't understand. You don't buy whole locations. You can buy individual plots. It used to say who owned it over here. Maybe no one owns that one. Imagining these idiots actually managed to make a working virtual economy with this shit. They did. For the creator. That man just made a lot of money. So it's working for him.
But you couldn't just spend real money directly. You had to convert your real dollars into the proprietary currency of Earth 2 dollars and then spend the Earth 2 dollars to buy the tiles from the game if nobody owned them. If another player owned them, you'd be able to buy it off that player for Earth 2 dollars. However, cashing out your Earth 2 dollars back to real dollars incurs a small fee. So there's no taxation for buying into the system, but there is a taxation for buying out of the system. Which
Sounds
means
safe.
New players need to be constantly buying into the system for old players to be able to liquidate their assets and buy out of the system. If you buy a tile for 5 Earth 2 dollars and then the tile rises to be worth $100, you can't sell it back to the game. You need to sell it to another player who has bought into Earth 2 at $100 at some point. And when you then try and cash your 100 Earth 2 dollars out, The Earth 2 project will take a small percentage of that as a transaction fee. This means the system will always have more money paid into it than out of it, meaning right now it's more like a financial institution and less like an actual game.
God damn right.
Generate some form of resources. As of yet,
the Earth sequel that I wanted.
Do with these resources as far as gameplay goes. Earth 2 fans will say, you can trade them, you can build hollow buildings, you can add jewels to increase resource regeneration. Just building up a vast amount of resources which currently do nothing, that's not gameplay. There is talk of...
But it's a big number, and that's cool. It's like RuneScape.
But currently, it's just a big...
Just watch a number go up for your skilling.
So the project has promised the world, quite literally, and so far not actually given that much. Recently, they did release a developer blog on how you can change the colours of some of the buildings. That's it. That's the update. They boast of their proprietary shading technology, which allows you to change the colour, and in their...
That's amazing. Wait, that's fucking crazy. Maybe this project has a chance.
In Command & Conquer...
Maybe I was too quick to judge. Where the fuck is it? This is the Earth 2 wizard? What? So what happens? Okay. Well, that's confusing. Where is their channel? Earth 2 vlog number 2. Oh, first phase. I thought it said final phase. There we are.
In this vlog, we'll be introducing details about the first EcoSim building, the water processor. This is the first building of many we have designed and plan to showcase over coming weeks and months. Initial showcases will focus on buildings being visually represented in their Phase 2 model format, pertinent to the Earth 2 EcoSim.
Damn, no one supports it anymore, it seems. So does anyone still believe in the project then? Like, even the comments now have turned on them, just laughing at them. Is there still real Earth 2 enthusiasts besides the couple weirdos on the subreddit? Did you see the story, and did you see the info coming out that George R.R. Martin wrote the pre-shattering story of Elden Ring? For example, his Rykard was just a guy. FromSoft made him into a corrupt snake person. No, that sounds like George R.R. Martin, though. Their Discord is crazy? Okay, so they do still have some believers.
Words, as far as Earth 2 is concerned, there's only so many times you can zoom in and out on a gridded map of Earth before it starts to get a little bit dull. But they have showed us some gameplay before. Remember the physics demo that showed a car driving around the virtual world? Surely that's playable at least. They called it their own tech and everything. But hang on, that video has, for some reason, been removed from their official YouTube channel. Why would you remove a video of the only gameplay element you've actually shown so far unless it wasn't actually in the game? All the criticisms recently...
Oh, that sounds like a conspiracy!
Isaacs, the CEO of Earth 2, clearly reached boiling point. In a recent devlog, Earth 2 showed off the new biome tech, and Callum Upton made a video stating he could probably have made that tech in about 30 minutes. So Shane responded and called Callum out personally via both tweet and YouTube video. In the video, Shane has challenged Callum to
I bet he crushed it too.
The biome tech in 30 minutes, but to try and recreate a project almost as big as Earth 2 in 7 days. And he's given Callum 7 rules for this challenge. Shane has said he is willing to pay Callum $10,000 if Callum can achieve all of these 7 rules.
Make it 100.
In 7 days. After this tweet, Shane went on a bit of a torrent of tweeting, including making references to an apparent shadowy cabal of YouTubers who were working together to bring down Earth 2 for some greater reason. The shadow cabal apparently includes Callum, Kira, Big Fry, Sid Alpha, Upper Echelon, but for some reason, not me. And I'm not going to lie,
man, that's fucked up.
I was kind of upset at being left out. This tweet and video challenge from Shane to Callum is, in my opinion, a major mistake by Shane, because no matter what the outcome of this, there is no way this looks positive to anyone who wasn't already invested in Earth 2. Yes, the hardcore Earth 2 fanboys are going to say this is a genius move by Daddy Shane, but anyone looking in is going to see it.
Is there any hardcore fanboys,
if Callum
though?
does hit all 7 requirements for this challenge, he's proven that one dude in his room can achieve as much as almost a 60-person team can over 3 years with millions of pounds of funding. If Callum only hits...
There's no way they have a 60-person team.
7 rules, it's still showing that a vast amount of progress can be made by one guy in under a week. If you want us all to shut up about how your project isn't delivering what it's promising, you don't need to make us do better, you need to just deliver what you promise. If your way of dealing with critics is shouting, well, you do better, eventually one of them will. So let's have a look at
that's profound.
That Callum has been
True.
given. Create a world
That was a cool line.
74,000 meters by 774,000 meters. I'm going to assume what he means is that the player character is a one-to-one scale with a human, so we're looking at a virtual world like Red Dead Redemption or Elden Ring. A square map 774,000 meters by 774,000.
I just love to hear Elden Ring being spoken about.
599,000 square kilometers. To put this into perspective, one of the biggest virtual game worlds ever made on a flat map was the Elder Scrolls Daggerfall, and that has an area of roughly 209,000 square kilometers. Now, to help visualize that, here is a picture of the Daggerfall map with the entirety of the Skyrim map laid over it. That small square, that's literally all of Skyrim. Rule 3. Utilize a base height map with 32 meter sample distance. Any other map spanning over the whole terrain is not allowed. No global color map, no global normal map, no curvature map. We worked all of that out using our own tech based on height map data alone. So I'm not super technical, but I imagine this meaning use actual satellite data of the real Earth to track elevation within 32 meters. Don't just use generic landscape maps.
You can easily just do this by taking Google Earth and putting a grid on it.
Virtual world, it should
Challenge complete. Fuck your rules. It's the same thing. Then the only thing you have to code is how to buy the tiles off that grid.
It has to actually follow the route of the real Grand Canyon using a real map. Rule 4. The compressed height map has to be streamed from the disk, uncompressed in the background on the CPU with multi-threading, and the rest has to be done in the shader on the GPU, deriving things like curvature, normal, colors, etc. as we have done. If your game is playing at 60 frames a second and everything is super responsive, you don't really care how it's doing that. As long as my PC isn't going to blow
Not true, that's all I think about.
Fine. So Rule 4 seems a little bit odd. Rule 5.
I want to, so I'm going to skip a little bit because this guy's clearly unhinged with these rules, trying to make it as convoluted as possible. Did Callum succeed?
Delivering, not get into a petty squabble with a YouTuber. Remember when the Dream World scandal?
Oh, another good one.
I tried to show you the truth of that. Callum reported on that as well. And someone said to Callum, if you think you can do better, do better. So he did. He started a parody development game called Nightmare World. There's a Discord about how it's going. I've seen alpha footage of the game. It's not pretty, but it's playable. The crafting system's actually quite nice. And then when Callum was streaming Marbles on stream to hundreds of people on Twitch, he reached out to the Marbles team and said, hey, can I have a streamer Marble? And they replied, unfortunately not. So Callum rebuilt a Marbles game, added Twitch integration, and streamed that instead.
Wait, that's fucking awesome.
It wasn't pretty, but it worked. Physically, it was a playable game. If I had a pound every time Callum made a game
Piranhas in the resub.
I'd have £2.
Limiter?
Which isn't a lot, but it is strange it happened twice. Callum put out a video yesterday showing his progress in this challenge. Now, before we analyse it here, please do me a favour, go and subscribe to Callum's channel.
God, that's so awesome.
Hours of sleepless nights into this, and there's a special cameo from me in his video. He's a player-focused YouTuber, and he advocates for developer honesty. If we're going to critique his video here,
game dev out of spite.
You to have watched it on his channel as well. So now the big reveal. Did Callum meet all 7 requirements in 7 days? Let's find out. Callum did indeed show footage of an absolutely massive map, far larger than Rule 1 required, with rising water levels, loading quickly, and moving the camera extremely fast.
Easy.
He showed a similar style building to the one that Earth 2 showed. Well, Callum actually showed 20, all dynamically switching colours every second. He showed a massive virtual space, which, given enough developer time, could probably become a game. And he did indeed create this in under a week. So did Callum complete the challenge? Well, in what was a rather nice move, Callum knows that Shane will say no and Callum will say yes, so Callum nominated a neutral third party, Guidebook Gaming, a YouTuber who has been both supportive and critical of Earth 2.
Supportive?
Started a poll about whether Callum did indeed pass the challenge and weighed in his own thoughts. In Guidebook Gaming's opinion, Callum did match all 7 points and should be paid out, but Shane has already explained why that won't be happening and tells people to wait for Shane's update video where he points out all the mistakes that Callum made.
That sounds about right.
Remember that Callum didn't create the financial back end of the game. He hasn't created a buy-in system or a sell system. He hasn't partnered up with major banks or credit card companies to allow people to withdraw their funds.
Are they actually partnered with them?
Monetization, he's just focused on creation of a virtual world.
Is he sub-abstract?
And that's where the gameplay is going to be. That's the foundation of the actual game, not the financial aspect of it.
They know what they're doing. It's super smart. They're just earning money from idiots. It's fucking great.
I've said before that some of the more toxic positivity elements of Earth 2 and its rabid supporters come across as more of a cult and less of a collective of video game players or enjoyers.
This definitely seems like a cult. Holy shit, I've been reading some of these. The delusion is nuts. No need to give this Callum douchebag more attention and importance. He is basically nothing. Meanwhile, Callum created the actual Earth 2 game in under a week. He just didn't include the financial system to take Last Soul's money. If I can't just give money away, then this dude sucks. I can't even say it's brainwashing, though. Like, these are people that just genuinely want to feel like they're in the start of something huge. This is the next Bitcoin. This is the next Axie Infinity. The one that just got hacked for 600 million. So they brainwashed themselves. It's not like Earth 2's done it for them. They just created the absolute bare minimum, and people flock to it just to lose money. They all just assume that at some point it's coming back and they'll make money. A phenomenon I've only ever seen in the crypto world. Like, I remember when my parents first got into the stock market. I'll actually never forget it, because it was right before, like, what was it, the 2008 crash of everything. So they had just got in, they put a little bit of money in, and they lost all of it. And they were fucking devastated. And they have never touched it since. And they never will. They have sworn off it. But meanwhile, these crypto bros and people who keep getting scammed by NFTs keep fucking doing it. They keep doing it. Just can't accept that they're actually just losing money. It's crazy.
If Earth 2 could truly do what they claim within a realistic time frame, they wouldn't need their CEO putting time aside to get involved with YouTube drama. They just need to show what they've made. Imagine the headline, "Multi-millionaire CEO of Metaverse Financial System Earth 2 gets into YouTube dissing match with British guy." It doesn't exactly paint
Is that true, Imagine? Send me an email.
In a good light. No
matter
cool. Who was correct, you look petty. I've said multiple times, this isn't you versus me. It's not tribal warfare.
Good point,
it's whatever
Corfin.
the players
Way to
need to get them to the game they are promised. There's no ego here, but this is turning it into tribal warfare, and it's not going to work well for you. You've asked people to pick a side, and you've asked them to pick between plucky young developer trying their best in their own room looking out for the players, and multi-millionaire CEO attempting to literally create a second Earth and sell you the ability to exist within it. Who do you think the average gamer is going to support? You are the villain in a young adult sci-fi novel. You claim to be making the next Matrix, but you have clearly forgotten the Matrix was the bad thing in the film. After the video, Shane, if you want to shut us up, the critics of Earth 2, all you need to do is show us that you can do what you say you can do. As gamers, we're tired of being promised.
It's so reasonable
when the game comes out, those things just aren't there.
Like, how does the actual brain dead Discord disagree with that? Like, no, Shane has a right not to show us the game that we're wasting our money on. Shane doesn't have to show us anything. We'll continue to just keep giving money to something that we don't even know if it exists or not. This is outrageous to say that he needs to show us what he's working on, that we're investing in. Like, how can you possibly take a different side as someone who's actively putting money into something that you can't see? If this were a scam, I would certainly not care at all about what other YouTubers publish or say in their videos. I would wear it. How? Why? How does that somehow, like, prove any innocence at all? This is a scam, and you do care. And the reason you care is because as more people call it out as a scam, you make less money in it. Like, it's super basic stuff here, Shane. I have the E2 community as well, and I decided to make a stance. Why would I do that if it were a scam? Why would I bring more attention to this project? Because more people buy into it for no reason. Look at the Squid Game token. People are still putting money into that after the creators came out and rugged it. And even laughed about rugging it. People still put money into it after it. People flock to scams all of a sudden in this crypto community. It's very obvious why you wouldn't want, or why you would make a stand, rather. It's super basic. This is exactly that Twitter energy of, my 4-year-old son just came up to me and said, "We need to do something about the war in Ukraine, Mom." And I said, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "I want us to go over there and save everyone." I'm so proud of my 4-year-old son. Like, just actual nonsense that never fucking happened. You're telling me this dude's daughter, I'm imagining is kind of young, he says his youngest daughter, comes to him in tears after watching a Josh video criticizing Earth 2. Dad, how dare this guy ask you to show them the game? How dare he? This fiend, this heathen. Dad, don't do it. Don't give in to the pressure. Oh my god, Dad. His youngest daughter is 24. God, that's even more pathetic then. You're telling me a 24-year-old daughter is still living with her multi-millionaire father and crying when someone says that he's a scammer? I'd have more respect for the fake story if his daughter was 5 years old.
Show us this proprietary tech that you've created.
Just show us the game.
Hide it behind big fancy words. Use simple words that simple dummy YouTubers can understand, and I'll look at it and say, yeah, that's impressive. Another massive thank you to all the supporters on Twitch and
God,
Patreon
Earth 2 is
who
the
keep
gift that
this
keeps on
channel
giving,
going.
man.
Woof. 1 week ago, I put out a video critiquing Earth 2's first devlog.
Whoa, that's
in this devlog, Earth 2
that energy
used a lot
sword's really
of
cool.
technobabble and a lot of flowery language to describe the very basic things that every game developer uses. Now, keep this in mind as it will be very important later. In response to my video, Shane Isaac, CEO of Earth 2, challenged me publicly to stand by what I said in my video.
Therefore, Callum,
He kind of looks like Jablinski Games.
to do just that. Go right ahead and do it. I personally stand by my developers and their ability and their integrity, and I'm willing to fund this.
So we know
challenge
how it
$10,000
ends. He
to
did
yourself.
succeed.
This
But
is
how
your
did Shane
chance
say that he
to put
failed?
back on our face, Callum, and prove to all your followers that you spoke the truth in your video.
So we did see him succeed, which is this here.
So here you see on screen that I also recreated that. Simulating around 20 of these, all having their colours changed every second on the fly in real time. It is nothing special. Your challenge never made sense from the beginning. Because the burden of proof falls entirely on you. Me saying to you that you don't have something, the easy response is to prove that you do. If you have it, it's a 30-second job, right? But instead, you requested that for me to prove that you don't have something, I make the thing that you said you had, which doesn't prove the initial point, Shane. The burden of proof falls solely on you. Now, I would actually like to set you a challenge, Shane. All of those 7 points that you have requested that I prove, I want you to prove that you've done it.
Oh,
One,
slapping the
because you already
meat
claim you have.
down.
And 2, because the challenge is already unfair from the beginning if you haven't, right? Because after all, I'm mimicking what you have done. And I have. But there's no proof that you've done it. And last of all, Shane, if you decide that you're not going to be a man of your word and you're not going to pay up the bounty for the challenge that I did in fact complete, and you're not going to pay the 10k, well, there's a good opportunity for the other metaverses here. Because if you don't stick to your word, this project that I've thrown together in 7 days is now for sale to any other metaverse except Earth 2 for the small price of $10,000.
This guy's fucking awesome. That's galaxy brain. That is actual galaxy brain. I am once again reinvested in this Earth 2 shit. I cannot wait to see Shane's response video. Is he gonna post it on the Earth 2 channel? I imagine, because it's kind of his diary. Yeah, we watched a lot of the Earth 2 shit like 8 months ago. And it looks like it's in the exact same spot as it was 8 months ago, which is amazing and sounds about right. The God of War video? Yeah, here. Since you brought up stand-up earlier, have you heard the rapper T.I. is doing stand-up? If you can call it stand-up. The only thing I've seen from T.I.'s stand-up is he got mad when a girl made fun of him. So he went on, like, he went up to her and tried to, like, rip the mic out of her hand. It's not really stand-up. He goes there to get offended and mad. Did you hear about Quantum? Oh yeah, this will be interesting to you as well, Caleb. Quantum TV is threatening Ackman's mom. Yeah, it was pretty intense. That man is not well. Thanks to resub potato and the gift sub potato. It's a different one. Back-to-back potatoes, nice. Yeah, Ackman should really pull the trigger on a lawsuit. I absolutely think he should be taking Quantum TV to court. That's legitimate stalking and harassment.
That's so fucking creepy, dude.
All over him having a horrible opinion that people made fun of. You can't do that. Yeah, but why? Has anyone ever asked? Because the Johnny Depp Amber Turd case has been, like, completely broadcast top to bottom, pretty much. So why not me? I'll go there as a member of the press, and we'll have some fun. Sounds like a good way of getting contempt of court, but it'd still be, like, quite the ride, I'd think.
I agree.
Anime as fuck. Well, I'm glad that it looks significantly less Disney. Kingdom Hearts 3 was fucking miserable. The script probably had the word heart in it, and darkness and light. The three of those probably about 50,000 times. It probably made up 80% of the dialogue. This is such a good opportunity to reset the awful narrative of the series. They're not resetting it. Resetting's the wrong word, but they can leave behind all of the convoluted garbage that never actually made sense. They can move forward, instead of trying their best to connect dots that had no business existing in the first place. But yeah, this seems a lot more Final Fantasy based as opposed to Disney baby mode based. So where was the ATST? You said 426. I didn't see it. Oh, 442. Did I miss it again? This planet is what people are saying is from Star Wars. Oh, this right here. Replay all of them to understand the story before it comes out. Oh my god, that'd be fucking miserable. Oh, that would be fucking miserable. Hearts can live even in data. But his heart was dark. Where does the dark heart go? And what does the data say? His nobody doesn't have a heart.